You need to document your process. Process documented through time reveals progress. It helps you define your tribe and also establishes you controlling the narrative. Those three things is what I'm going to cover on this video. If that's what you're interested in, I'm your host, Eli Max, and this is Illustrated Diaries, episode 10. Let's get into it. Process documented through time reveals progress. It's not just a portfolio, it's your creative journey. I can't go quote for quote on this, as I don't have the book right in front of me, but Show Your Work by Austin Kleon is a book that I've referenced on this channel before, and it's a book that I happen to frequent every now and again when I'm in a creative rut or just when I have time to, skim through it, as it is a very inspiring book. And I see it as way more than just a creative book. That being said, he says something along the lines of, showcasing your work, showcasing your process, not just the final product, not just the final piece, but people want to see what it is that you do behind the curtain. So with that being said, you have to showcase your process, and process documented through time reveals progress in the sense that if you start today, in the next 2 to 5 years, you're going to look back, especially if you're a student who is trying to progress, let's say, and be more detailed in fine art painting or landscape painting or whatever, anything within the arts. Having it documented is a way for you to be able to look back, and also for people to walk along the journey with you. It's not just a capsule of this is my criteria, well, not criteria, but these are my skills on a bullet pointed resume. And it's something that even up until making this channel, I fell victim to for a long time. I would just put together my best pictures and put them on a Google Doc and send them over to somebody to see the work that I happen to do. And, there isn't anything inherently wrong with that, but we have to think creatively. We're creatives. And I think a way to be distinct and to be unique is to utilize your voice. It's part of why I made this channel, because I wanted to control the narrative, which we're going to get into. That's the last point. But let's stay on topic. It's very important, very, very important that you document the process, because I'm holding myself to 1 to 2 videos a week. But let's say if I were to send my work to somebody now, I could be like, hey, I also have, a YouTube channel / podcast, where it's not a podcast yet, but I consider it such, where I happen to talk about, work and topics that I create around said work every week. So you're actually getting a real-time version of me versus you just seeing these photos that I have in this doc file that I just sent to you. So that's the reason as to why process documented through time reveals progress, and it's very essential as a creative. Number 2, it helps you define your tribe, those who share interests similar to your own. And in my case, I love basketball. I love movies, particularly in the realistic fiction / documentary, I guess you would say subgenre of movies. The first movie that I happened to review on this channel, or better yet, kind of covered aspects from it. I didn't do a full depth review of the movie, but was the movie Elephant, 2003, which is an HBO film. And I'll put it in the description if you want to listen or watch that video. But it was pretty much a coverage or a retelling of the Columbine, situation. I'm not going to say the word, but the Columbine situation, and it wasn't meant to be entertaining. The director's intent was for people to look at it from a human lens, and it's not an entertaining movie by any means in the way in which it's even directed. It's one of those movies that's kind of thought-provoking. It's getting you to think. And the art direction, as an illustrator and creative myself, I have a deep appreciation for people who make work that can stand the test of time. I personally feel that film could stand the test of time, and I felt that it was a good topic of discussion. So yeah, that's one way I'm able to kind of showcase my interest. I'll draw a character from a film, or I'll draw myself from a particular season in life. That being said, also, this is a picture of me when I was in high school. So yeah, that's one element there. You see me with New York Knicks Anthony Mason shirt and some Air Jordan 3s from 2018. And even in that interest, right, I'm into sneakers. I would consider myself a sneakerhead. You have to be authentic to the interest that you have and find a way that you can genuinely showcase that. And the reason as to why I feel you need to speak to those things as well and clarify is because, yes, art in a way can tell a million stories, but the true intent, I feel personally, is the most powerful when you explain it and clarify the intent yourself. So yeah, that's really all I have on point 2. And the last point, you control the narrative. This is a point that is vital. It's very much vital because as creatives, if we're being completely honest, we have a need to be appreciated. Deep down, we want people to appreciate our work, and our work is very much sensitive. There's a quote from Erykah Badu, and I'm not going to say the whole quote, but she was standing up on stage and she was like, my art, essentially saying something along the lines of, I'm real sensitive about my art. So but it's a very, very true thing amongst, I believe, all artists, is that we take care and are very protective of our artwork and the integrity behind it, I would hope. And as believers, which this is a reason as to why I made this channel as well, you sharing your interests. So this kind of does go back to point 2, so I'm going to just jump on this part real quick. The way in which we happen to navigate, it should look distinctive, it should look unique, but it shouldn't be to the point of legalism to where you're not expressing interest that you have, but it also shouldn't be at the point of compromise. It should be dead center in the middle, getting to the truth, but also in a way to where it's nuanced, it's you, it's in your fabric and being, because God only made one of you. But controlling that narrative, people are already going to have preconceived notions about who you are. There's nothing you can do about it. I may have a preconceived notion about who you are, but a way in which you can happen to deflect those lies, or better yet, pre-made judgments, is to speak it, is to be consistent, is to put your work out there, is to etc., etc., etc. And this is a very important point because of the fact that you are going to be affecting future generations to also be encouraged to do the same. I have a son. I'm a father of a 1-year-old, and one thing I can say about my son is he helps me to see the world differently. He helps me to see time differently. He helps me to value my time a lot more. Really, I have to value my time a lot more with a toddler, because you're not afforded, the time that you think you have. Like, you really don't have too much time. They need your time. My wife requires my time, right? So there's, this point hits me differently in this season of life because I see how fleeting time is, how delicate it is. I get home, I gotta, make sure that I'm locked in with my boy, because he's not always going to be this little. He's not always going to be this small, but there's an art and a beauty in that. And I cherish it as much as I possibly can. I'm not perfect, but, I try my best. And I just think of, him down the line, whatever it is that he happens to get into, he can listen back to these recordings and be encouraged. His peers or friends or just a random kid that may be across the world, or even to you, somebody who may be in their 20-somethings, or even in your 40s, whatever age or season of life you're in. This is documented from me, myself, to you. And this is a way in which I'm happening to control the narrative as a creative. I put my fingerprint on human history with my work, with my voice, and, I'm just utilizing it as an entry point, or an entry point for people to be, introduced to the Lord. This isn't the last stop. This is more of, I guess you would say, the station. And, this is a way in which I can happen to broadcast my creative efforts for His glory. So that's really all I have for this episode. Like I said, process documented through time reveals progress. It helps you define your tribe, and you control the narrative. I've been your host, Eli Maxson. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. And if there's anything you could take away from this, or anything you want to apply to this, I would love to hear what that is. So feel free to drop that in the comment section. And I'm out.